Welcome to episode 35 of Book Read. I am super excited to be sharing with you. Not only is she one of my best friends, but she is author of the book The Labyrinth, A Magical Path of Pagan Wisdom. Her name is Jacqui Thackway Winn. And you know what? I don't want to keep you waiting any longer. Let's go to the United Kingdom and meet Jacqui. The beautiful, the elegant, and dare I say witchy, Jacqui Thackway Winn. How are you, darling girl?
I'm really good, darling. Very happy to be here. Looking forward to this.
Welcome to episode 35 of Book Read.
Wow.
What a lucky number, hey? Love it. Super excited because obviously, you know, we've worked together on other shows as well. So super excited and super chuffed for you that you've now managed to get your book out. And it's called The Labyrinth, A Magical Path of Pagan Wisdom, because you're a wisdom-filled pagan.
Well, I hope so. Maybe after all these years of working and walking a pagan path. Yeah.
Only 28 years old. I think it's amazing that you've managed to
you're
put
good.
This out.
You're good.
So I kind of do know, because obviously, you know, you even built a labyrinth in my garden when I was living in Quintana Roo. So I know how you've worked and you've studied and you've kind of bonded with the whole kind of the labyrinth. I don't want to say ritual. What is it like? The
labyrinth is a spiritual tool. Is kind of where I kind of meet that energy. Yeah.
So you know that's been very a huge part of your magical life for many years. I want to take you a little bit kind of when you were just starting your labyrinth days, getting to know it. Did you have any designs about becoming an author then? How did you get into labyrinths, and when did you think, oh, do you know what, I'm going to write a book?
So I've been working with labyrinths now for 20 plus years, and I discovered them out in northern Spain. I was out there running witchcraft courses for a druid group in northern Spain, up in the Basque country, and they had a labyrinth there, a cloth labyrinth painted on the cloth on the floor. And I knew what a labyrinth was, but I'd never worked with them before. I'd never walked one, and I knew the archdruid there, Grassi, taught a lot of labyrinth stuff. So I said to her, "How do I walk it?" Long story short, I walked the labyrinth, had a really deep, visceral, emotional reaction to it, and I was hooked. It was almost like the labyrinth said to me, "You're mine, you need to learn as much as you can." So I would fly out to Spain 4 times a year teaching witchcraft out in northern Spain, and then spending time with Grassi, learning about the labyrinth, not just the magical side of it, but the ritual side of it, the labyrinth as a liminal space, the labyrinth as a walk to yourself. It's a path of self-discovery. And I was really intrigued about how I could then bring that into my own magical practice. So I was initiated in her tradition of walking the labyrinth as a priestess of the labyrinth. There's no wrong way to walk a labyrinth. You walk it however you want, but I was taught in a particular way. Yep. I then brought that back to the UK. I started to run my own workshops and courses. I started to use it in my own magical practice, finger labyrinths mostly, because although I have painted my own 4 meter by 4 meter cloth labyrinth, there's not many places apart from halls and, you know, kind of places that I can put it down, not in my house anyway. So a lot of my use is with finger labyrinths as well. And I began to develop my own magical practice on it, and it really enhanced my magical practice. The labyrinth is a liminal space. It's like a walk to your magical self, a walk to your gods, a walk to your higher self, however you want to see that. So it became something of an obsession. I worked in prisons for 12 years as a pagan chaplain in prisons in the UK. And I took the labyrinth there as well, and I saw how it could affect prisoners, both men and women that I was working with at different times. Quite a profound effect that it was having on them. The profound effect it was having on people in my labyrinth retreats. So I was writing a lot of rituals, writing a lot of magic around it. And I had this kind of wealth of writings on my laptop, various bits and pieces. I thought, this is a book. You know, I had most of the book, the bones of the book there. And then I spent the last 5 or 6 years, it's been a long time, life takes over, you know, I can't sit there. I work full time. I can't write full time. So it's been a long process in writing this book, but I'm really happy with what I've kind of brought forward, and I've kept it. Yes, there's a deep dive into labyrinths on a magical level, but I've also given some witchcraft teachings, some pagan teachings in it, how to work with the labyrinth with the Wheel of the Year, at the celebrations with the moon, how to work and call your gods or your idea of deity into the labyrinth. There's a whole section on 13 magical walks. And a lot of it is a deep dive into your own psychology as well, the psychology of magic, because that's where the labyrinth really lends itself. So why did I become an author? I had a lot to say, as you can tell.
Well, I was going to say, and can you tell us a little bit about the book? But you've done that as well, so that's fantastic. Anyway, thank you. Goodbye. No, so I was, like when the book was being released and being promoted, I was looking at people's comments there. Well, why is it like pagan wisdom? And because you're coming in from a pagan standpoint, because that is your. There's
a lot of books coming from a Christian point of view, beautiful books on labyrinths, coming from a place of Christian prayer and a path to God. And that's absolutely, the labyrinth isn't owned by anyone.
That's what I was going to ask you. It's not just a pagan sacred geometry symbol. It's actually, can you give me a little bit of a very, bullet point kind of history of not just pagan, but like the labyrinth and how it's been used and,
So the particular shape I use is called the classical 7-path labyrinth. It's thought that labyrinth is possibly 3,500 to 4,000 years old. So it predates the monotheistic religions. Yep. So that is particularly pagan for me. It's sprung up across the world in different places. You can find it all over northern Spain. You can find it in Sweden, Norway, Denmark. And I think it comes from the idea of spirals. I think the shape of the spiral probably gave birth to the labyrinth. We don't know how people used them. We can surmise that it would have been ritual, the same way that I'm using it in a modern, modern way. But we don't know. But that shape is certainly very old. Some people call it the Cretan labyrinth. You've got the legend of Theseus and the Minotaur at the centre of the labyrinth. I kind of feel that was a maze more than a labyrinth, but who knows? In Spanish, you'll know that labyrinth is labyrinthos, and it's the same for maze. There's no, in English, we differentiate between labyrinths and mazes. A maze is a puzzle that is designed to have dead ends and tricks, and it's a puzzle that your everyday conscious brain likes to solve. The labyrinth is one path in, one path out, unicursal path, one path. And you can't, you would think, get lost in a labyrinth. You can, but that's a whole different story.
Yeah.
So a labyrinth can be any shape, it can be any form, but the only rule is it's one continual path into the centre and one path out again. So if you go then to kind of the Middle Ages, labyrinths became popular in churches. There's a beautiful labyrinth, very different shape to the one that I use, called the Chartres labyrinth, just outside of Paris in France. That was 1300s. So they've been popular with Christianity since around the Middle Ages, but you can walk a labyrinth no matter your faith or none, and that's the beauty of them. On a very simple basis, they're a tool of mindfulness. Wow. Your busy mind is quietens because it likes to follow the pattern, which allows your subconscious to come forward. So it's a great problem solver. Yep. If you have issues, problems, using a finger labyrinth, walking a labyrinth is a wonderful way of solving problems. And then you kind of jump, they fell out of fashion around about the 1700s. A lot of turf labyrinths in Britain were built then, based on the medieval design similar to the one at Chartres. And then they fell out of fashion, they fell out of favour, until about the 1970s, 1980s. And since then, there's been a gradual resurgence in labyrinth practitioners kind of bringing them back to the masses, particularly in the States. They're very popular here as well, but particularly in America. Beautiful things.
I'm wondering, I just come to mind, I wonder if, even in Peru where they have the Nazca lines, which are the, the kilometre.
There's a labyrinth. There is a labyrinth on the Nazca lines. Yeah, there is.
Yeah, I was wondering if there was a labyrinth involved. I didn't know there was. So I was actually wondering if there was like a labyrinth involved there, because it's very...
Yes, you can look it up, Nazca line labyrinth. It's there. Very similar shape. Not exactly the same, but very, very similar shape. And I want to get it right here, the Hopi Indians, I'm stand corrected if it's wrong, the Hopi Indians also use a 7-path labyrinth, whereas mine is rounded. Theirs is square.
Squared, right.
It's lovely. They say that when you stand in the centre looking out, you're held in the arms. You'll see the arms of a labyrinth coming around you. You're held in the arms of the Great Mother. Wow, so the labyrinth is seen by many as a 2D imprint of the universe made manifest on this plane, which is beautiful. And once you know how to draw a 7-path labyrinth through a seed pattern, which you can look online, or you can buy my book and have a look in the book, plug, but you can find out online how to draw a 7-path labyrinth. When you understand the seed pattern, the beauty of the labyrinth is that it then has the possibility of existing infinitely. The more lines you draw, the bigger the labyrinth can get. And I think ancient man knew this. So it's a liminal space that has the ability to exist infinitely.
Wow.
So you can look at the magic around that. And as a liminal space, the labyrinth is neither of this world or that world. So, you can have 1 foot in this world and 1 foot in that world there, the other world, when you walk a labyrinth.
Well, you and your husband helped me build a labyrinth in my garden when I lived the other side of Mexico, which was a 3-path. Yeah. And it was a phenomenal area. I mean, it was just...
It's beautiful. It's lovely.
I'm obviously I'm kind of eclectic, pagan, kind of go what kind of resonates with me at that particular time. And a lazy witch, so do very little because I'm always on my own. However, on a 3-path labyrinth that was not that big, I got lost several times, had no idea where I was in it, and I found it amazing because, obviously, and you probably go into it in your book about how the sections, like where you are in that labyrinth, is kind of significant to where you are in your spiritual, physical, emotional,
Absolutely.
as well. And it will be really interesting, like, to trip over nothing in the top left quarter of the labyrinth, and then find out that that's because this isn't, but it's because it's air, and actually I've been struggling with saying something to someone, or whatever, and it's like really, really interesting. Or you feel a bit woozy when you get to another bit. You're like, what is that about? And that's because that's an emotional center, and really, really interesting. I'm very much.
I find that fascinating. I find it fascinating because the labyrinth will tell you more about yourself. Actually, than you can consider. And it's very basic as a tool of mindfulness, and it's always a path to yourself. You will meet yourself at the center of the labyrinth. And what the labyrinth also teaches is that when you get to the center, you don't just walk off. The journey never ends. You're walking back out again. You're walking back out with any realizations that you've made on the walk in. And so the beauty of it is, as the labyrinth meanders, as it twists and turns within its own paths, we say in life, I feel like I'm going backwards on myself. You never go back. Even if something feels familiar, even if you're making the same mistakes, you're not. You only can ever go forward in life. You can never go backwards. The past is gone. Yeah. Tomorrow never happens. The labyrinth teaches you that what you have is right now.
In the moment.
And that's the important thing.
Yeah.
We spend too much time worrying about what we didn't do, worrying about what we have got to do. And as a solution-focused hypnotherapist, using the labyrinth in my practice really helps people to understand that.
Yeah.
There's no point worrying about what you did in the past or what's happened in the past. And there's no point worrying about what's going to happen tomorrow, because that puts us in our anxious brain. And the labyrinth says, you don't need to be anxious because that's gone. That ain't happened yet. Yeah. All you're doing now is talking me. You're in me. I'm holding you. You are safe. You can deal with your stuff inside a labyrinth really beautifully or not. It's your choice.
And you're taking one step at a time.
One step at a time. That's all you're taking. And that's all the labyrinth ever demands of you is the simple placement of 1 foot in front of the other. There's nothing else. There's no expectation.
I found it amazing. I went through some of the darkest points of my life in Quintana Roo. And luckily I had that labyrinth, because I would literally like physically get into the middle of that labyrinth and throw this invisible angst and pain and, you know, from suicidal tendencies to complete, you know, like everything, I would throw it, and I would throw it and scream it with such like pain, and then would walk out pretty much to stream with tears, and then half hour later I'd go and do it again, because I was still, and it was almost like, I don't know, like being really thirsty and someone offering me like, well, come and have a little drink, and then right, I'm having a little drink, and then I'm still thirsty, well, come back and have another little drink. It was just like a soother for me.
And loving place.
Yeah.
Some of the best work I've done with labyrinths has been in prison with incarcerated men and women. My labyrinth has been my 4 meter by 4 meter cloth labyrinth that I've painted has been walked by many men who have done some quite awful things, and they've ended up in prison. I've had some of the toughest men that I've met in tears. I've had some of them have complete realizations about their life. I've had some of them who, if they're coming up for parole, they've got no control over what's going on. I've watched them walk into the labyrinth full of anxiety, and when they've got to the centre, they've been able to let that go. You know, that's not saying that the labyrinth is going to give them the parole that they want, but they can actually then calm themselves to then go towards the parole board and conduct themselves in a way that they feel is fit.
Yeah.
I've seen some of the most amazing things happen to people on a labyrinth in prison. You would think that men who are incarcerated would look at it, and what one lad did, he was in for murder. Say lad, he was in his late 20s. He was in for murder, burglary that had gone wrong. You know, he was a traveller guy, so that's Irish traveller guy over here, so gypsy. And he just looked at it and went, well, that's just a cloth with a bit of paint on it. And I went, yeah, walk it. I don't want to walk it. I said, we don't have to. But it's just a cloth with some paint on it. It's nothing, you know, it's just a symbol.
But if you're scared, don't worry.
Yeah. And he walked it, he watched other people walk it, other prisoners walk it. They're all lifers, they've all been in for serious stuff. And I was playing some evocative Celtic type music, a bit of clan, had a bit of this on a CD in the chaplaincy. And he said, I'll walk it. And he started to, and he was really stiff and he was holding on to his thumbs. But then as he started to get into the music and he started to find his rhythm and his flow of walking, he was really beginning to unwind and relax and soften. And he stood at the centre of the labyrinth. And as he stood at the centre of the labyrinth, the CD changed to the next track, and it was an Irish lullaby. He burst into tears, and I said, oh my goodness, what's wrong? And he said, my grandmother used to sing this to me when I was a small child, and she's been dead this last 10 years. So he was converted. He painted the elemental symbols that are in the corners of my labyrinth. So my labyrinth didn't leave prison for many years unless I was using it for workshops. And I had a large walkable labyrinth built in one prison. I put a business case together and the governor of the prison agreed, and we had a huge labyrinth built in one of the prisons I worked in. So there's a lot of healing that happens on these, a lot of healing.
That's amazing. Now tell me about, because not only is it sacred space, but it's also sacred geometry. Can you explain a little bit, just because if someone that doesn't really know what sacred geometry about each shape having particular energy and vibration levels, can you give me a little bit of a sacred geometry explanation for dummies? No, because I don't know enough. Okay. You can cut that bit. I hate the sacred. But it is sacred geometry as well. There is sacred. So if I don't know enough about sacred geometry, and I wish I did. There are other labyrinth aficionados. I saw a word the other day which I really loved. Labyrinthnauts. Explorers of the labyrinth. I really liked it. There's a lot of people out there that really like the sacred geometry. I don't do maths. That's my problem. I don't have a mathematical brain. So if I was to draw a labyrinth from the seed pattern on a beach, for instance, which is where I really like to draw them on the low tide and leave it there for people to walk and let the sea wash it away. Beautiful. If you wanted to do it mathematically correct with the sacred geometry, there's a different way of drawing it completely. And my brain does not work with that at all.
I wish it did, actually, because I think sacred geometry is something that I would find fascinating if my brain was more mathematical, but it isn't.
But there is more to a labyrinth than just swirly lines on a piece of cloth.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, it's
wherever you
energetically,
put one, it leaves its footprint. So if I was to walk a labyrinth on the beach, I can put all my stuff into it. The beach is the liminal space. It's neither land, at low tide, it's neither land nor sea. The labyrinth is a liminal space. It's neither of this world or the next. Yeah. You put your stuff in it and it will transmute it in some way. It allows it to become something positive. You can't walk a labyrinth and feel angry. I've started walking, I've tried to, when I've had my stuff and I'm, by the time I've got to the centre, I've unwound.
Yeah.
And you feel as though a whole load has been taken off you. And that's the beauty of it.
And not only that, I mean, not looking on a magical sacred geometry or any other level, just the fact that you are kind of forced, like, we just said before, mentally to, okay, right, I'm following this path. And you can't really think about, oh shit, I've got to go to Tesco's, and oh my god, I can't believe what my
you can't, yeah.
Because you're like, okay, right, oh no, I'm carrying on down here, because you're still you're having to be really present in that moment. So I think that is really amazing.
Your conscious brain loves a simple pattern.
Yeah.
It loves it. It feels relaxed. It feels safe when the pattern is simple. So your conscious brain, particularly your prefrontal cortex, for instance, goes, oh, pretty pattern. I like that.
Yeah.
And it's concentrating on that pattern so that your subconscious, your cerebral cortex can light up, and go, brilliant. Your cerebral cortex is like a vast computer database. That's where everything that you've ever done, red tape, it's all in there. It's all in there. We think we forget things, we do, but it's all contained in there. When we sit in anxiety, when we sit in our primitive brain, you're physically blocked when you're in anxiety. You can't reach that intellectual part of your brain.
Right.
The labyrinth allows that. It allows the intellectual brain to follow the pattern. It allows your subconscious, then your your cerebral cortex to go through. I've got a problem. Let's go through the filing system. That's the answer to the problem. Okay, we like that. So I work with Solution Focused Hypnotherapy, and I know that everyone's got the solutions. My job is to either use the trance and solution focused questioning or the labyrinth to allow people to come up with their own solutions.
Bloody wonderful.
Incredible.
I can't wait for you to visit. I can't wait to build another labyrinth. That's what I'm more excited about. But no, and not only, on the kind of the emotional, spiritual, like all those particular levels, it's also very, very beautiful. I mean, I remember when I was, working my labyrinth and doing courses there, and it was a full moon, and I had some, lots of, not lots, about, I think 7 or 8 women come to do a course, all dressed in white, all carrying candles. And we done almost like the dance where you take 3 steps forwards, 1 step back, 3.
Yes, beautiful.
And then as one person gets to the middle of the first path, the next one goes in. So it's all like this dance of white and candles, and the labyrinth was lit up. And it was just like being in the elven part of Lord of the Rings. I mean, it was just absolutely.
The labyrinth teaches us so many things. When we're walking with other people, it teaches us that we can only go as fast as the person in front. We need to give them space. And the people behind us can only go as fast, we're giving each other space. But it also says we are learning from those people in front of us, and we're teaching the people behind us.
Yeah.
So it's a continual kind of, give and take. It also says, we think we're going to aim for the centre of the labyrinth, and the labyrinth goes, the first thing I'm going to do is take you as far away from that centre as possible.
From your goal as possible.
Yeah. And we're going to meander, because in the 21st century, what we're fixated on is going from A to B in the fastest possible way. Yeah. If we do that, we're blinkered. We're just looking at the goal. We're not looking at what's around us. And the labyrinth goes, chill out, breathe, slow yourself. We're going to take you this way, and then we're going to take you that way, and then we're going to look over here. Yeah. And you're going to take longer to get to your supposed destination, but you're going to learn more. You're going to meet more people. You're going to have more incredible experiences. You're going to be wiser for the journey, because it really is the journey, not with I know it sounds a cliche. It's not the destination.
No, well, this is what I've carried in every part of my life, and actually, it's come, on the Jaden show when people are talking about their careers in music and stuff like that, and it's come up a lot where what you told me and what we had written on, like the point of, at the back of the labyrinth was the journey is the destination. And that's something that really, that's one of the phrases now that I have to hold on to everything. That it's about achieving, it's about becoming constantly.
I think as you get older, I think we understand that more. When we're young, we're running at life, I want to do this, then you get it. Then I want to do that, and then you get it. And then you want to do that, and you get it.
Yeah.
I think as you get older, you grow in wisdom, I hope, and we understand that actually we're slowing down as we get older anyway, but we're actually understanding that we learn so much more.
Yeah. And every path is different, even though it's in the same place. I noticed that I was very blessed, say, to live, in the jungle of Quintana Roo in Mexico. But I would notice that I would be walking this path, and I had it in my garden, so I walked it a lot.
Yeah.
I would always see something different. Like, there was a flower, a hibiscus that bloomed that I didn't notice when I was on the first part. And then when I got round to the second path, a hummingbird flew by. And then, then a big blue orph butterfly landed on the plant next to, it was always like, I would never have even seen any of this if I'd just been sat watching TV.
You notice. And I can walk my canvas labyrinth, and I've probably walked it hundreds of times. Every walk is different.
Yeah, completely.
Every walk brings up something new.
Yeah.
And even those walks that don't bring up much, it feels comfortable.
Just nice.
Yeah. At the very least, you're going to have a wonderfully comfortable space. Because how often do we allow ourselves just to have time with us?
Cigarette breaks. And I noticed this the other day when my dog passed, a while ago, and she was my little girl, and I was smoking at that process. I don't normally smoke, but when I get stressed, I will buy a packet of cigarettes. And I was thinking, oh my God, like, I come out, she's by my feet, I'm smoking, just seeing like all these butterflies, and then an ibis or whatever it is has just flown over, and a vulture's flown over. And I don't do this when I'm not smoking, but I did it when I was walking the labyrinth.
Yeah. It allows you to just be with you
in that
moment. At the very least.
Absolutely.
Whether you're spiritually minded, magically minded, it doesn't matter. Go out there and find a labyrinth. There's a wonderful website called the Worldwide Labyrinth Locator. Mm-hmm. Wherever you go in the world, you can type in nearest labyrinth. Sometimes there won't be any. Sometimes there will be. I mean, when I've holidayed in the UK, I find them in the most outrageously out of the way spots. It's beautiful. There's a big one called the Kedroia, just opened in Cornwall last year. It's huge. I mean, it's huge, and it's designed to stand there for 4,000 years. It's going to be there a long time, and it's made out of different Cornish dry stone walls and hedging. Wow. It's beautiful. Look up the Kedroia, Kerdoya, Kedroia labyrinth. Stunning. Absolutely stunning. Yeah. So they're everywhere, from the smallest ones that are on churches to the biggest ones that are in the landscape to ones that people have made out of pebbles, in various little landscapes, and ones that are mown into the grass. I mean, they're beautiful. The Worldwide Labyrinth Locator. Okay. That's a place to go and look them up.
Find out and where you can go and walk yours. Whatever path you follow, spiritually or religiously, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I just want to share one thing that I remember as well, really interestingly, is sometimes I'll get to the middle, and when I get to the middle, I'd just be like, right, I'm just standing here. And I would find myself, like, it feels as if I was doing this. I mean, it was like being in, like, I felt like Dorothy. But,
So you've created the vortex of your own energy. So when I was taught this, Grassi said, when you stand at the centre, and for me, the centre is the cross point, not the inner path. It's the cross point bit. And I don't know anyone else that uses that. I'm not saying there aren't anyone. I just haven't met anyone else that uses the labyrinth quite like I was taught. When you stand at that cross point, there's a vortex of energy that spirals clockwise to Father Sky, anti-clockwise to Mother Earth. Mm. And many people will just stand in that energy, and it's beautiful to watch because they're allowing themselves to stand in that energy. We're not fighting it.
And it's a real physical sensation. It's not something like, like you're bullshitting your brain to believe. It's a physical, like, that's what really, like, you said, you walked and you got to know the labyrinth, and it became your friend. And because it was something that surpassed belief and faith and everything. It was like, this is like physically happening to me. Yeah.
So there are many online studies now. I remember having, and I can't quote them all off, you have to look them up, but I remember writing something on my Facebook page and about a labyrinth retreat I was holding, and someone, you know, the troll, came on and went, oh, this is all hippie stuff, it's all shit. You know, where's the empirical proof that these work? And I thought, oh. You shouldn't have asked that, love.
Here it is.
Because there's loads of it out there. So I copied and pasted study after study after study after study. Boom, 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 boom. There it is. And it shut them up immediately. They didn't come back at all. So there is proof. There's a lot of universities out there that are doing study on labyrinths and what happens in the brain. When they wire people up and they walk a labyrinth, the same parts of the brain light up when you're in trance. So it's really, you know, it's really, and when you sleep, it really happens. There is a shift in the brain. There's a whole chapter in the book about what happens in the brain when you walk a labyrinth. So it's not just the spiritual and the magical. There's actually a whole chapter in there that talks about what happens in the brain when you walk a labyrinth.
Jacqui,
so whether you are spiritual or not, you can get something out.
There's something from it. Oh, what book's that? What's it called?
Oh, my book here.
Tell me.
The Labyrinth, a magical path of pagan wisdom.
Who's it by?
By this wonderful woman, Jacqui Thackway Winn.
Oh, thank you. Do you think she would like to read us some?
I think she would be absolutely delighted to share a small snippet.
Let's do it. Right.
So I'm going to read a section of my book called So, What is a Labyrinth? Are you sitting comfortably? And then I'll begin. A labyrinth is so many things to so many people. Each time I walk one, I learn something different about myself. No two walks are ever the same. No two people will ever share the same experience within its twists and turns. How can we? As individuals walking our own paths, we bring our unique wants, desires, issues, and life experiences into the labyrinth. And this is what makes every labyrinth walk unique. And yet, despite the individual experience, those of us who use them regularly understand entirely why others also walk them. There is a shared experience in the simple act of walking despite our uniqueness. On the surface, a labyrinth is indeed a deceptively simple symbol, yet one that holds a million hidden meanings, and each one will be different for every person engaging with it. As you walk it, you will travel towards the ultimate goal, you. Within it, we learn more about who we are, and this is vitally important if we are to walk a magical path. Ultimately, the labyrinth is a space in which a person can begin to follow the maxim, know thyself, a tenet all magical practitioners aim for, but which is challenging to achieve. We will look much closer at this in the chapter, The Labyrinth and Magical Practice, but suffice to say, we seek to know ourselves as best we can to better guide our magical practice with the right intent. We must constantly examine ourselves and our motives, looking backwards at our past selves and seeing ourselves as we are now, so that we may inform our future. This is the path to self-knowledge. The labyrinth allows us to explore these themes safely within its paths, helping us look more deeply at our inner turmoil and teaching us to accept our egos. It offers us a space where we can find answers to life's issues and problems, to confront our fears, examine our prejudices, look at our shadows, or celebrate our joys, honour our transitions, create magical space and ritual, and so much more. The labyrinth is a psychological tool that allows us to look deeply within and challenge our sense of self. And yet it does this safely and gently. The energy of the labyrinth wraps around and holds you, allowing us to explore the more difficult themes that may occasionally arise. Yet it is no more than a symbol. So how can this be so? How can a shape hold you, keep you safe, be gentle, or teach? We first have to understand that symbols are profoundly evocative to us. They can evoke emotions, memories and reactions on such a visceral level, sometimes with no real rational or conscious connection. Symbols are shapes that often depict an idea or concept that the viewer instantly recognises. Some examples include religious symbols such as the cross in Christianity. Others can be logos. Think of the Apple icon used on all Apple products. When we see a heart, we think of love, or a dove for peace. The written word, the shape we etch on paper or type on keyboards, conveys speech in a pictorial form, which in turn conveys our ideas, thoughts, and beliefs to others who understand the symbols used, the language. As you read this book, your brain interprets the shapes on the pages, enabling you to hear my voice as I convey my thoughts. In magic, of course, there are countless symbols we can use to help recognise a magical process, or that can help engage our magical mind to allow us to open up and both give and receive energy. And the labyrinth is one such symbol. We can walk a labyrinth, not fully understanding its power, and yet we can still experience it at a deep level, a primal level, allowing it to work its magic. And this is most obvious during many people's first experience with the labyrinth. They have never walked one before, and yet many have deep reactions to it that affect them, often profoundly. Many people who work intensely with labyrinths, myself included, speak about them as though they are a living entity, something far more than just lines and patterns. The Hopi Indians say that if you stand at the centre of the labyrinth, its arms wrap around you, holding you like the arms of the Mother Goddess. Indeed, if you stand at the centre of a classical 7-path labyrinth and look out towards the entrance, you can see the path curve around you from both left and right, much like arms holding you. The Hopi 7-path labyrinth, pictured below, differs slightly from the one we are working with, and yet it is still recognisable as 7 paths. It is a representation of the Great Mother Goddess, and the Hopi believe all creation flows from her. The labyrinth becomes a symbol of divine energy. I talk about my canvas labyrinth as having a sense of joy about it, of peace and of healing. Whilst I understand that it is not a living entity, as most would understand that term, the energy created within by those walking it, and the energy of the labyrinth itself is indeed a real and vibrant life force. In an animistic sense, my labyrinth contains its own spirit and personality that I feel and connect to, and that I both honour and work with. I believe all labyrinths are the same, each with spirit deeply imbued within, and the more we work with them, the more we connect with their energy. When we walk with an open mind, allowing ourselves to connect with this spirit, we may examine ourselves from many angles in a safe space. Likewise, we will begin to see ourselves in ways that we have never truly seen before by examining our deepest, most profound truths within their paths. Working with this energy, we can start to understand that letting go of our old, outworn ideas or beliefs, dysfunctional attitudes that no longer serve us, our fears, hurts, anger, etc., will propel us forward on both our life's journey and the spiritual one. Through these interactions with the labyrinth, we begin to understand somewhat better the maxim, know thyself. An excellent metaphor for the labyrinth is that of a mirror, reflecting back at us the twists and turns that are our own personal experiences of life. Just like the paths of a labyrinth, life can take us first one way and then another. Sometimes the direction is discernible, comfortable, familiar. Other times we have no idea where the hell we are, what we are doing here, or where we are going. It mirrors our thoughts, feelings, and emotions, both positive and negative. Patience is one of its biggest lessons. It teaches us to slow down and experience the wonderful gift of life we have been given. When we learn to navigate life's often unexpected turns, to appreciate what life can teach us, we learn that nothing is impossible. We can achieve anything, overcome any challenge, and be the best we can, if we walk with truth, integrity, and a willingness to know ourselves better. The labyrinth reflects and often magnifies what is going on internally, so we may bring it out into the light to better understand this journey called life. When we walk a labyrinth, we see that its path leads us to the centre and back out again. Each time we walk, it is the same, in and out again. Each experience will be different, but the path is always to the centre and out once more. The lesson of the labyrinth here is simple, yet profound. The journey never truly ends. With each new walk, we leave something behind and take something new out with us. The labyrinth mirroring life again as it ebbs and flows with each new stage of life we enter. The labyrinth is a symbol of death and rebirth, and it's a powerful symbol indeed. In this aspect, it allows us to journey into the beyond. The path into the labyrinth thus symbolises the journey towards death, or change and transformation, letting go, etc. And the path towards the exit is therefore our rebirth, allowing us to embrace the new. The walk becomes an experience of learning about who we are and what we need to let die within the labyrinth before walking forward into the light and a new dawn, reborn once more. Life is a series of small deaths and endings and of new beginnings and rebirth. As we walk forward in our lives, we change constantly. This is inevitable. How can it not be? We grow and evolve through the experiences we have. We leave behind each experience and allow the next to begin. In this process, we leave people behind, or they leave us. We say goodbye to jobs, places we have lived, moments we have enjoyed. Life is a series of endings, but with each ending, each door that we perceive as closing, we still walk forward into new experiences, new adventures, new chapters. We are on a continuing forward journey. In the labyrinth's path, we can let go of what is behind us. Whilst learning from it, we can embrace the new as we step out and are reborn into the next phase of our life's journey, and so on. As Bilbo Baggins' song goes in The Hobbit, the road goes ever, ever on. We will walk forward one step at a time, constantly letting go and bringing in with a sense of achievement and freedom into a new journey that follows us from the last. The profound beauty of the labyrinth is that it is a place where all things meet their opposites. Confusion will turn into clarity. What was unseen will be seen anew. What was lost will be found, and what was damaged will be fixed. In it, we can find equilibrium and peace. It brings our inner and outer worlds together and connects us more deeply to ourselves. It truly is a place of self-discovery. I hope you've enjoyed that little snippet of my book. And if you really want to look at more of it, it's available on Amazon.
If I was able to, I would be rushing out to my back garden now to build a bloody labyrinth. I really miss it, actually. I didn't realise how much I missed having that space, that tool, that friends, as much as, you know, listening to the way you kind of speak it. And yeah, I'm like, oh my God, I need to crack on with it. You got to get
I'm passionate. You know? I'm passionate about it.
Yeah. Well, if you're, you know, you really love me and like, well, you're one of my best friends, you'll come out next Wednesday to help.
I'll be there.
Right, see you then. So tell me again, the name of the book is?
It is The Labyrinth, A Magical Path of Pagan Wisdom.
Bloody
available on Amazon.
Beautiful cover as well. Is it available on any other websites, any of your business websites?
Liminal Gate Press is the place it's published, Liminal Gate Press. Okay. And I think that's www.liminalgate.co.uk.
So, but people can find it at like Mind, Body and Spirit festivals and things like this?
Yes.
Where you are?
Yeah. Or from Inner Path Wellbeing.
Okay. Bloody wonderful. That's
my Inner Path, my Facebook page, Inner Path Wellbeing. And we have a website, www.innerpathwellbeing.solutions.co.uk. I had to think of my own website then.
Okay. And it's available there as well for order.
Yeah.
Bloody wonderful. Jacqui Thackway Winn, thank you so much for...
Thank you so much for having me.
It's always a bloody pleasure, never a chore. Sometimes a chore, but not today. No, I'm joking. And it's absolutely wonderful. I'm so proud as your mate that you've done this.
Oh, thank you, darling.
Beautiful, because I know your passion and I know your immense knowledge and spirit behind the labyrinth. So, you know, you've brought it into my life, and that's something I'll always be grateful for. And I do miss it now in this moment. And I'm thinking I'm going to have to
I'll send you a book. I'll send you a book, darling.
You don't send me nothing. You bring that book. I will pay you in tacos and tequila when you get it. But you bring that book. I want it signed. I want lipstick kiss mark on the front cover that my mate
all
has
over.
done that. And I'll
all over, darling.
I'll do wonderful. Jacqui Thackway Winn, you are amazing. I love you intensely. Thank you so much for sharing your book with me.
Thank you.
People at home, you've met her again. You love her. You can also find her on the Jaden Show as well. So check out her episode of the Jaden Show. I will post a link at the bottom, the explanation, the write-up of this episode as well, so you can find out a bit more about Jacqui and what she's about. Make sure you pop along to one of her mentioned websites or to Amazon and get your copy. Absolutely a must do for your bookshelf. And if you have an opportunity to go and find a place where you can either do a labyrinth workshop or go and walk a labyrinth, whether it be on a beach, in a field, or in a specified place that Jacqui's mentioned, please go and do it. Be open, enjoy, love. I'm pretty sure that, like we said before earlier in the chat, that the worst thing you're going to come out with is, oh, that was lovely.
It's a little bit of peace and mind, a little bit of peace and quiet. Is if nothing happens, that's what you'll get.
Absolutely, absolutely, bloody wonderful. Jacqui, thank you so much. We are in touch for our future show coming out soon. So I will see you later.
Take care, darling.
Take care, gorgeous. Bye-bye. How amazing. I really do want to go out and start building my labyrinth. So much to do today. It's not going to happen today, but be open, go and check out the book. If you do get an opportunity to go and walk a sacred labyrinth somewhere, wherever you are in the world, then please go and do it. It's such a beautiful experience. I highly, highly recommend it. Don't forget, you can find Jacqui's book in the write-up of this particular episode, but on everyone's favourite Amazon, you will find it there as well. Please go and get your copy. It is a must-have for your bookshelf. And if you're someone that does like to do a little bit of work on self and kind of see how one's life can progress, it's definitely worth being open to the teachings of the labyrinth. Please go and get her book. Please like, please share, please subscribe to this channel and tell all your mates about it. And I will see you on whatever comes next. I'll definitely see you on the next book read, maybe the Jaden Show, but I will see you on whatever episode of whatever show comes next on JCTV. Thank you for being with me today. I will see you again soon. Send you lots of love. Bye-bye. Thank you.